We are Monday, the 30th of March, and we've had a very interesting week over the last 7 days for me personally. But we are here, we are still standing. I'll talk to you about that in a second. And we've got a very exciting time ahead. We've just unlocked YouTube Live, so we're now on Facebook and YouTube, which is really, really cool. And it means we can help more people as we start to grow and start to do more and more of these honesty hours. And the honesty hour, don't forget, is not your 3 tips for back pain. It is where the questions that keep you up at night, that make you less mobile, fearful, fearful of your independence, and ultimately are reducing down the quality of your life. That's what we answer here. We want to get you back to the things that you love and enjoy, the mindset that you need, and the quality of life that you deserve. So let's just recap my week quickly, which has been quite a challenge, let's say. So last weekend, we had a lovely time in the Cotswolds. We went to the Cotswolds farm, like I said, and we had a great time. Came back from that, my other half, my 2 kids, very, very ill. Bedbound, thrown up, you name it, for 3 days. So that was a real challenge of balancing everything and not having the time for myself to be able to do the things that I want to do, which is a lesson that we can pull out of this. And then also having to care for them and keep them feeling as best as they can do in that moment, which was not pleasant at all. So that was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Thursday, I snapped a key in a door of our garage door, which was not ideal. Then my car engine blew up on Friday, and then we had a blocked toilet over the weekend as well. So last week was just one that I will quickly try and forget, and we will try and move forwards from very, very, very fast. But the lesson from that is life will give you challenges. You just got to keep getting up and keep going. So very much looking forward to this week and being back on a positive foot. All the family are fit and well, which is grand. The key's been sorted, the car's been sold, and the toilet's been sorted. So we can move forwards. But what comes from that is life will give you challenges, and at the moment for you, your challenge might be your pain, might be your quality of life, it might be your independence, it might be your balance. You've just got to keep putting one foot in front of the other, trying to make progress and keep moving forwards. That's all I can say from that, but you've got to find the path to do that. So last week was about keeping my head above water and keeping the family moving forwards, whatever that meant, one step at a time. Because otherwise, if we succumb to it, we're no better, we're going to go backwards, it's going to be even harder as a challenge, and we're going to get bogged down by it, which, although it was a very hard week, I can't say I wasn't positive throughout that time frame. What I'm very positive about, though, is something very exciting for me. Next week, I get to go to Miami for the week, Tuesday through Saturday, Sunday, because I've been invited to a business event and I'm the only UK representative who's been invited. So very, very cool for me. More social media clips coming for that as we move forwards. But very exciting. I get to go on a massive adventure. Who thought that a therapist from born and bred in Winchester, went to Chichester University, can say that he's been invited, or ever thought he would be able to say he's been invited to go to Miami for a business event that he's been invited to. The other real amazing thing for me there is it's not just me that gets to go. I get to take my dad along with me as well. And this is kind of a full circle event because must be 10, 12 years ago, I need to look back at it, my dad took me and my family to Miami. So it's really cool to say that I get to go again, and I get to take my dad with me and we get to do some cool things. So I will be going to a baseball game, we will be going and playing golf, we'll get to see the sights, we get to go on a boat. We're having a really cool week next week, so very much looking forward to that. This will still happen on the Monday, and I'm trying to factor in what time frame I need to do it, but Thursday there should be a honesty hour still taking place, but from hopefully warm and sunny Miami. So that's really, really cool. I then come back from that for 2 weeks, and I go to LA for a business event as well. So again, more on that as we move through. But we had some very, very deep questions come in over this week. I didn't get to do a call on Thursday, so the questions are kind of backed up a little bit, mainly because of the illness around my kids and everything else that had kind of gone on last week. Life does get in the way of certain things at times, unfortunately. But the question that we're going to tackle today is, am I too old to get my life back? Now, I've had a conversation about this recently in clinic, but also this came through as a question. And the question in clinic was, somebody told me that they recently felt it was too late for them to start to try. This person was 65. It's never too late to try. I've had a 79-year-old patient in today looking to improve the quality of their life because in their eyes, they haven't got that many years left. Well, it's not about the number of years you have left. It's about the quality of those years that you have and get to do the things that you love and enjoy. She's flying. She's making sure that she's got everything in her house that she wants and has ever wanted. She's getting her garden done. She's having an extension put on the house. She's doing trips. And the reason behind that is because she is looking to enjoy the last few years that she believes that she has. And her mobility, her strength, her independence should not be the bit that limits her there. And that should be the same goal for anybody. It doesn't have to be a financial thing, and finances can be a restriction. I completely appreciate that. But you can build strength from home. You can do your mobility work at home. You can build your confidence, your balance, and therefore your quality of life and your independence from home. So it's never too late to start anything. If anything, it is always too early to not try. It's always too early to stop, and it's always too early to not try. So what I mean by that is if you don't try, you're just giving up. And we don't want that. We don't want to work with people like that. We don't want to see people like that. We want you to be living the quality of life that you deserve, and we want you to be doing everything possible within your means to enjoy the quality of life that you have. Whether that is going on holiday, playing with your grandkids, living your best life in your garden, whatever that means to you. She's now getting an allotment, for example, which I think is great. It's a great way of keeping active. So I think that the more you put towards it, the more you're going to get out of it. The stronger you are, the more mobile you are, the better it's going to be. And regardless of age, it's always the right time to start. You can still build strength in your 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. If you eat the right nutrition, right diet, you do the right exercise plan for you, it doesn't need to be hours and hours, it just needs to be structured and tailored for you as an individual, then most definitely you should start. And that's a conversation I had with a different patient over the last 7 days. Any questions to that? Do let me know. I can circle back around to it. This kind of fits in the same means, but it's the next question, or kind of statement question, is what if this pain is just my new normal? It will be if you let that settle and you accept it. But if you leave it and don't do anything about it, then yeah, that will be your new normal. But if it's keeping you awake at night, it's not the pain, but the thought of that is keeping you awake at night, you care enough to do something about it. And the something about it you need to do is see the right individual with the right supportive network, the right advice, the right guidance to get you moving forwards. Pain does not have to be the new normal. For example, take my situation. I've been in pain since I was 13. I am nearly 30, I'm 30 next month. Yes, I'm in pain every day. There's varying degrees of pain to that. But there is always small things I can do. I manage my pain through strength training, red light therapy, treatment if and when I need it. But I could have the surgery that is required to eradicate my pain. However, I don't want the surgery because I don't believe that Longer term, that's the best avenue for me. Right now, as a personal situation, it definitely is not the right time for me and my family for me to have surgery that requires me to learn to walk again for 6 months. So I can deal with my day-to-day pain. It's nowhere near what it used to be, but it's not ideal. But I kind of accepted that, but I know that it doesn't have to be the normal if I did this, and this, which is the surgery, the rehab, and everything in between. So, no, it doesn't have to be your new normal. It's just whether you're willing to go through the pain of change to get out the other side. Me personally, right now, full transparency. I and my family are not in a position for me to undertake the pain of change to get me to where I would like to be, being able to chase my kids around the garden, play football, change direction, whatever that might be. But I accept that and I move forwards from that. But it doesn't mean that you have to. If your pain of change is an acceptable pain of change for you, then grand. Let's look at what that means to change your quality of life. What do you need to do? What activities do you need to undertake? Who do you need to see? Who do you need to work with? What exercises do you need to do? What treatment methods do you need to do? What nutrition do you need to have? Everything in between can then change what your quality of life is like right now. And it's working out whether you are happy to suffer short term. For me, it would be the surgery and 6 months of rehab to then have the enhanced quality of life. For some patients or clients with us, that's the short term 6, 8, 10, 12 weeks, whatever it is, of doing treatment with us for the quality of life that they gain afterwards. Now, I'm going to pose a different question in your head. And that question is, what would your life be like in 12 months' time if you went through that initial part of pain to get the change? Now, if you have that answer, what are you missing out on if you don't make that change? So we are now just coming into April. Let's say from April 1st, if you did 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks of treatment, so let's say that's what, April, May, June, July to the end of the year, what could you be doing that you can't currently do now? July to the end of the year, what would you be missing out on if you didn't do that 3 months of pain change? Physically, emotionally, whatever that might be. That, I think, is the bigger question here. That, I think, is the thing you need to think about in real depth, because right now it might not feel like enough for you to do anything about your aches and pains. But what if it got worse to the point where it's debilitating? Or if you really think about it now, you're probably adapting your quality of life to fit the pain rather than eradicating the pain to fit your quality of life. And what happens is when we are in pain, we tend to make our world smaller and let the pain dictate what we can and can't do, rather than make our world bigger and reduce down the pain. Not everybody's going to like that, I appreciate. But that's what it really comes down to. And I was just having this conversation with a patient a minute ago, and I had to say to her, look, I'm not here to be nice, I'm here to be kind. And what I mean by that is I need to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. What you want to hear is me agree with you and say, no, you shouldn't go dancing and you shouldn't do your volunteer work. What you need to hear is you should go dancing, maybe not do all of it at one time, but get back into it. And you need to get back to your volunteer work, because if we don't do these things, we don't have a tracker for progress. And when you do go back to it, it's going to be worse. And you're going to say that your pain hasn't gone, when actually it just hasn't been exposed to that load to build the tolerance up to be able to do what you want it to do. So she's made the initial commitment to make the pain change, but then she's not necessarily doing what is being asked of her in order to make that a reality. And it's never a smooth journey. There's stepping stones through all this. The first one is finding the information out and accepting that you need to make change. The second is taking that information on board and actually actionably taking those steps, because you can go and seek out the information and somebody can physically do what they can to help you, but it is a two-way street. And if they don't do what they're asking you to do, it's not on them in the nicest way possible. It's going to be on you for not following every piece of information that they've given you. It's the same as if you had a mentor that was telling you need to do X and Y in order to progress from here to here in your job role. And then you don't do it, but you complain that it hasn't happened. That's quite heavy, but I think very, very important. There will be a initial friction or pain to make change. And that's not increasing your knee pain, for example. That is, it's different, and we as humans do not like change. So therefore we have to overcome that for the long term. I don't want to have to learn to walk again, but I will do it at some point when my life circumstances allow me to. I can manage my pain on a day-to-day basis, but I'm not saying that's something you have to do. That's just my experience and my life situation. I fully know that when my kids want to go play football on a football pitch at 6 and 10, whatever it might be, I really will struggle. That's when I'm probably going to need to have the surgery, if not slightly before. But currently, in our circumstances, I can't do that. Last question from me that has come through. Will I lose my independence if this gets worse? And all three of these are kind of in a thread that work together. I actually did a video on this and posted this out recently, that illness and disease is not the biggest threat to your independence. Your balance is number one. Your physical mobility and strength is number two. Let's break that down really. So your strength, your balance is your biggest threat to your independence. Let me repeat that. Your balance is your biggest threat to your independence, not illness, not disease. If you have poor balance as you age, let's say over 50, you're more likely to trip and fall or stumble and fall. We tend to not just go down, it does happen, but we tend to trip, stumble, take a few steps and then fall. If you can't regain your balance in that, you're more likely to hit the ground. As we age, the significant likelihood of you fracturing something dramatically increases. If you fracture your hip, the mortality rate is very, very high, and within a 12-month window. The reason behind that is because you lose your mobility, you lose your strength. You tend not to have the supportive network around you, and you tend to be in a position where sitting and resting all day is achievable, and there's no drive or goal to get better. The other part to that, in my experience, is that it's much harder to recover post-hip fracture as you age, as if it was if you were younger, but the means of getting to somebody to help you, so somebody like me, for example, is very hard because you can't get there. Can you prevent that from happening? Definitely. Work on your balance, work on your strength, work on your mobility. The second part to your independence is the strength and mobility. Now, they go hand in hand with balance. You can put all these exercises together. The stronger you are, the better control you have, the less likely you are to stumble as you trip, the better balance you're going to have, and the more likely you are going to be able to recover if you were to injure yourself. Did you also know that the stronger you are, the longer you live? There's research that suggests the stronger you are, the longer you will live. The stronger you are, the less likely you are to get injured. It still happens, don't get me wrong. But you have a bigger capacity to do things. Therefore, when you're gardening and you lift the plant pot for the 50th time, your back doesn't go. Because you've built up the strength and capacity to deal with those demands. If you don't have the mobility and you had a trip or fall and you can't get back up again, now that is a real lack of independence. You're then reliant on somebody as and when they find you, or you've crawled over to the phone or you've crawled over to the landing to then call somebody to come and get you, that's a lack of independence because you are truly reliant on somebody else. Now, I like to take things one step further here. We're talking about those over 50. The majority of those over 50, not all, but the majority, will become grandparents. My kids are with my parents right now. Are you truly safe around your grandkids? Where I'm going with this is, are you safe for yourself? Are you safe for them? If you were to trip and fall, could you get back up again? Or are your young grandkids going to be waiting for somebody else to come pick you up? The other part is, if something happened to them, are you in a position to deal with it? So if you needed to get to them quickly, can you run? Can you jog? Can you walk very, very fast to get to them? Could you lift them up if you needed to quickly? Could you carry them to safety? Could you lift something off them if they were to fall and something fall on them, for example? These are things that need to be addressed and you need to strengthen for. And I'm not talking in the gym, you don't have to do that, but strengthening for function is different to being in a gym and different to strengthening for aesthetics, which over 50 I don't believe we need to do. I'm not training for aesthetics anymore. I'm training for function. For those reasons that I've just stated about grandparents being safe around their grandkids is the same thing as a parent to me. Can I run and get them if I need to? Can I lift them up and carry them to safety? Can I lift something off them if it ever needed to happen? Can I drag them out of somewhere if it needs to happen? That is what we need to be working towards. That, for me, is true safety, security, independence, quality of life. I think that's going to round up today. There's some quite heavy topics within that. Any questions that you want answered, let me know via Instagram or Facebook Messenger. Send me an email, whatever it might be, and then we'll get them answered on the show. And I will be back on Thursday at 2 o'clock for the next episode of The Honesty Hour. If you want to join my email list so that you can get more from me, then please send us an email at info@activemotion.uk and I will get that set up for you.